This is Brooklyn St. Michael with the School of Aquaponics, and this is Ask the Aquaponics Guide, preventing you from becoming a biscuit-headed grower. Now, I've been gone for a little bit, been taking care of a lot of things behind the scenes, and I'm back. But a lot of stuff is going on, a lot of things in the work, a lot of soup being stirred up, trying to get a lot of things put in motion so we can provide you with as much value as possible. So you guys will be put in the loop coming up very, very soon on what's happening behind the scenes. You'll be surprised on some of the things that the Aquaponic Guide is doing. But I'll inform you guys as things begin to progress and as we continue going. But with that being said, let's get to the long-awaited video from my man Jason. He submitted this a little while ago, finally getting a chance to get to it. All you guys, all you other folks who've submitted videos, it's still in the queue. I still got it in there. I still see it. And we're going to go ahead and get them done and knocked out as we can. So with that being said, we have Jason submitted his system. We're going to take a look at it, see what he's done good, what he's done bad, and what suggestions we can make in order to prevent Jason from going down biscuit-headed lane. Let's proceed.
I'm kind of from the country here in Delaware, and most everything we have here is either stuff that I've had from plumbing projects, fixing homes, feed troughs, AutoZone donated to the project, save for pumps. Now, some of the pumps are old aquarium pumps I've had, but I got all kind of stuff. Anyway, I digress. So what I did was real simple. I had these 100-gallon feed troughs. I got one set up here, and I got probably close to 100 goldfish in there. I'm overstocking it right now. I'm trying to just cycle.
Who has told thou, Jason, that thy system is overstocked? This doesn't look overstocked to me. You can grow, definitely you can grow fingerlings at this density that you have right here. The only thing is you're gonna probably have to add, well, you are gonna have to add more aeration and better aeration as they begin to mature. But this is not even really stocked that high. Like, this is not even stocked that high. So I know a lot of people go around, they're saying, like, they see tanks like this of this size and they'll say, oh, your stuff is overstocked. That is a myth. That is absolutely a myth. It's overstocked when you don't know what you're doing, when you're going down biscuit-headed lane. But once you know what you're doing, this is not overstocked. Just a quick little reference there. Let's proceed.
So I got some air stones going in there, and then I got a little diffuser plate I made out of these pots, the little drip cup pots. Just cut the bottom out of that, and then I glue gunned it to the thing. That might be something that, a little hint, I guess, I don't know. So that just drains right down into about 1.25 goes into another 100-gallon tank, and this is where I have my plants here. These are going to be tomato plants. And
so, Jason, I see about 2 or 3 things wrong with this particular fixture that you have thus far. And right now, the main thing I want to focus on is your drainage, and this is why I harp on the fundamentals of aquaponics, because this could be easily prevented right here if we just understood the fundamentals and we applied them correctly. You have your drain, but you only have your outlet from the fish tank. You only have it at the top, and that's only removing one type of solid. That's removing the non-settable solids, the solids that are floating up and getting removed out of the system. But you also have the the settable solids, that are floating down at the bottom. They're relaxing at the bottom, and they're going to accumulate there at the bottom, and that's where your problem's going to come in. They're going to start removing oxygen from your tank, and that's where you're going to have struggles with your dissolved oxygen, because dissolved oxygen is is the fastest water quality to diminish in aquaponics. It goes rapidly, especially when you have stocking densities that you have right there. You need your fish tank. You need all the oxygen that you can have in there, because it's going to get diminished very rapidly. So when you have those solids in there, all they're doing is sucking up more oxygen, and you don't have anything to properly remove them out. So that's definitely one thing that must be fixed. You need to have some type of bottom drain. Actually, you need a different type of tank that's more suitable for this. But you can still make this work. You can still make it work if you add some fixtures in there. But you need a bottom drain. You need something that's going to remove those bottom solids from this tank. or else you're just gonna have a big headache. And the next thing that I see is that you have your fish tank connected directly to your plant production area. And this is a huge problem here. This is gonna be a huge problem, and it's a fundamental problem. It's a rearrangement problem that you have with the system. And you don't want this to occur. The only exception to that is pretty much a media bed where you can have your solids coming from the fish tank into the plant production area. But in this instance, you have it running to a deep water culture system, and this is a big no-no. The solids are going to accumulate down there. They're going to strip out dissolved oxygen. Obviously, the roots of the plants need dissolved oxygen as well. You have all these solids accumulating down there. You don't have anything removing it. They're adhering to the plant roots. They're suffocating the plant roots. Dissolved oxygen is being removed rapidly from the system, and then it's just a big mess that is going to happen. And this will occur. I can guarantee that this is going to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is going to happen. So we want to rearrange that, and I'll tell you more about that as we continue watching the rest of the video. But this is something you definitely want to fix, like right now. This is going down biscuit-headed lane for sure. You continue doing it this way, you will go down biscuit-headed lane. So we want to prevent that.
They're gonna require a lot of space for this small setup. So basically, I'm pretty much doing 100 gallons per plant, give or take. I use this Aquaponics lava rocks mix, ready to use soilless thing that I recommended to me, and then I have and I actually doubled up on my containers there. I think I'm gonna change that because I don't think I need to do that. Yeah, no, I don't need to do that. I'll just take that bottom one out. But anyway, so it's kind of like a takeoff of a deep well system. The pump that top feeds, I have it right now set 15 minutes on, 30 minutes off, 15 minutes on, 30 minutes off, completely automated. And as the plant's roots take place and get better saturated in there, I'll take it and wean it back, 10 minutes on, 20, whatever the case may be. Have my lamps, of course.
So here's the other issue, my man Jason. The other issue is that the algae guides are going to be coming. You have your lights directly over your deep water culture setup, and then there's plenty of holes in that mesh little netting thing that you have there, that mesh plate you have there. There's plenty of holes in there, and while you may seem to be diffusing the light, you have to remember algae are very well adapted to low light conditions. This is like a perfect setup for them. Like maybe this doesn't grow traditional plants if they were underneath that mesh plate, but algae are very, very adapted to that low light situation. So algae is gonna grow like crazy in there. The algae guides are coming, I can promise you that. So that's another issue that we have here. You wanna get an actual floating raft type of foam to put on top of this so you can block out all the light and just have the inserts for your plants. That's all you pretty much want to have. If you're leaving all these little spaces in there, algae is coming to town. The algae gods are coming down from Planet X. They're coming. I can guarantee it. So we want to fix that as soon as possible because that's the last thing you want to do is be growing algae. They're gonna once again they're taking up nutrients. They're sucking up dissolved oxygen. They're just a nuisance to an aquaponics system. So we want to remove as much as possible. So let's fix that ASAP.
So I got a 450, 480 gallon per hour pump, and I just pump it up into my AutoZone here. Cleaned it with baking soda and distilled vinegar, water mixture. Filled it with lava rock. And what I did was I took this is actually a plastic 3-gallon planter, and I drilled holes in the bottom, so I ran my line up from underneath of it, and I let it drip over the top, and it's just diffusing the water over the lava rocks. Got a couple other things. I got heater in there because it gets cold in here at night. Yeah, this is just a start what I have, and Just try to keep it simple. Let gravity take its course. Next step is I have a couple more of these 55 gallons, and I'm gonna set them up, put them into a rack over here, and be for top off water and make up water. There's a couple other things I got in my journal that I'm thinking about what to do.
So you have a trickle filter set up in this deep water culture system. This is a biological filter here. So this it ties all into understanding and applying the fundamentals, proper fundamentals of aquaponics. So we don't have to be doing a lot of unnecessary things. Because I can tell you right now, the trickle filter in this system is unnecessary. It's something that is not required for this particular setup. But that goes off of the assumption that your system is properly sized. Deep water culture systems do not require a extra biological filter. It doesn't require a biological filter. If you have it sized correctly, the roots provide enough biological filtration. The roots and the sides of the tank and the side walls and all the piping, all those components provide enough biological surface area for an adequate nitrifying bacteria to colonize. You don't need a trickle filter. You don't need any other extra biological filtration. So that's one thing that you must understand. This is part of the fundamentals. But what you are missing is a solids filter. So instead of a biological filter, what you need is some type of solids filter. Like I said, you have a rearrangement problem in the system. What your system should look like, you should have your fish tank. This is one way you can do it. You can have your fish tank, the highest point. From your fish tank, it needs to come, pop my elbow, it needs to come into some type of solids filter. Some type of solids filter, maybe a radial flow filter, a bead filter. For this system, probably a radial flow filter or a swirl filter would probably be adequate. And then from there, you can bring it into some type of fine solids removal component to remove a lot of the fine solids. I did a video on that with a separate video on trickle filters, a fine solids removal component for a system. If you're using a radial flow filter or a swirl filter, it goes into that. So it goes from the fish tank, radial flow filter, fine solids filter, and then from there it can go either into the sump tank or it can go. We'll keep it simple. We'll have it go into the plant production area, which is your deep water culture unit, and then from there it can go into a sump tank, which will be the lowest point. From there you have your pump. You pump it right back up to the fish tank, and it just goes back down into that same motion, that same pattern. That is how you would set this system up. That's one way you would set it up. But to add a trickle filter in there is not doing anything. It's not doing anything. But you have to have it properly sized using correct fundamental principles. So that is one thing that I would definitely suggest you look into doing. Do not add any more biological filters, trickle filters, any of that other stuff, because you don't need it. It's not required. So with that being said, hopefully that provides you some insight on what you can do and what you can reconfigure in this setup, because it does need some reconfiguring. Don't take it personal or anything like that, but this system needs to be reconfigured. You can get this thing to work. Now, let's not get it confused. You can get it to work. Obviously, you're going to get it to work, but you cannot scale this. This is not developing a skill. You won't be developing a skill with this. You won't be able to take this and say, let me go scale this up and start a commercial business with this. It's absolutely not going to work. That's why I harp on the fundamentals and getting it right. So when you practice the right way, in case you want to go and start making money with aquaponics, you already have the skill set. Of course, you can get this to work. You can figure it out. You be out there being an aquaponic maintenance man. You can figure it out. Trust, I've done systems like this before. This is how I started, doing it like this, doing all over the place because I didn't have any guidance. So I know exactly, and I have got some success, a little bit of success doing it, but it doesn't add up to when you apply the fundamentals and when you do it correctly. So that's one thing I want to suggest. But I appreciate you sending your video. Appreciate it. Still love you. You know, it's nothing personal or anything like that. Still love you. Let me know if you have any additional questions on your setup, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. But like I said, need some rearranging going on in here. Some rearrangement, because, you know, when we do these hobby practices, a lot of times people get caught up in just having the different components here. I want to make sure I got a trickle filter. I want to make sure I got this. I want to make sure I got that. And a lot of it's unnecessary. That's why I say we got to get out of the fanciness and get to applying the correct principles and things that we actually need so we can actually produce effectively. That's the whole purpose of this game. So with that being said, Jason, I appreciate you. Appreciate your video, and hopefully anyone else out there has got some information and some value out of this video, and you're able to apply it to your system. I know some of you out there, listen, I know there's plenty of you guys out there who have systems like this. I know. All I gotta do is go in there and look on YouTube, and I can find them. There's plenty of people with systems like this who just are all over the place, and we have to fix that stuff. In order, if we want aquaponics to be brought out to more people and be taken serious. It has to be fixed. It has to be some type of guidance, correct guidance set in place. So with that being said, this is Brooklyn St. Michael with the School of Aquaponics, and I'll see you on the next video. Woo!